the institution of slavery is not inherently evil. I know. Some of you guys are upset by that. Some of you guys are saying, I've been saying that for years. Okay, I'll take it a step further. It is not inherently evil to own another human being. I know. Just wait. Some of you guys are really upset, but let's talk through this because it is very important that every Christian affirm what I just said. And not only should they affirm it, every Christian in today's society should be able to defend what I just said. Okay? Every Christian should be able to defend it. Big evangelicalism has been getting this wrong for years. Basically, since the advent of Big Eva. They haven't had a good answer for the slavery issue. All right, Christians in America have been led astray on this topic. They've been led to believe things that the Bible doesn't teach. And when we go beyond the Bible, there are dire consequences. What I just said.
I mean, not only is this the exact same logic people use to justify the transatlantic slave trade, but also anyone who's trying to convince you that the Bible is univocal, meaning it's a seamless, singular voice speaking in unbroken moral clarity, is an idiot or they're lying to you.
Christians in America have been led astray on this topic. They've been led to believe things that the Bible doesn't teach.
Every modern day Christian is in constant negotiation with the text, meaning everyone cherry picks what they think is relevant based on their own biases. Meaning if someone uses the Bible to justify slavery, but never follows the rules about mixing fabric or stoning kids, they're not some super rule-following Christian, they're just racist.
To own another human being.
This is a fantastic example as to why we shouldn't get our morality from a 2,000-year-old book. It's another great example as to why we shouldn't base society's laws and government off of a 2,000-year-old book. You get your morals from a 2,000-year-old book, you are keeping your morals stagnant. And contrary to popular belief, your morals should not be stagnant. If you are taking in new information, you should be able to apply it to your morals and values. Because the more we learn about certain things, the better we can adjust. Hey, this isn't good, or this is better, or whatever it is. But going by this book, make sure that you stay in the same headspace somebody had 2,000 years ago, and that's a problem if you want to, progress, which a lot of Christian nationalists don't want to. But he is right. The Bible doesn't condemn slavery. That's why I don't think we should go by the Bible, because God gave a handbook on how to have slaves, and he directly condoned it. And there will be people who bring up Bible verses about not being able to kidnap people and make them slaves. That's not the same as saying slavery can't be a thing. It describes perfectly chattel slavery in the Bible and how to do it, how to sell, how to buy, how to keep them for life, how to pass them on to your children. This is exactly why we shouldn't be getting our morality from a 2,000-year-old book. This is about the 5th Christian video I've seen within the past couple weeks saying it's perfectly fine to own another human being. Slavery is fine. It can be good if slaves are good and masters are good, whatever the hell that means. The type of environment we're living in is making more and more people comfortable with saying things like this because people are becoming desensitized to what Christian nationalists are advocating for, and that's a scary thing.
The Bible does condone slavery.
That does not mean that I agree with instituting slavery.
But that's not what I said. I said the Bible condones slavery. You said, no, it doesn't. I brought the passage where Paul says, slaves obey your masters. You said, I agree with the Bible.
He does not say in the book of Philemon. Right? In the book of Philemon, what happens in the book of Philemon? Do you know?
I'm asking you to, I gave
you a passage.
What happens
in the book of Philemon?
Hold on. You are very good at this because you keep moving the goalposts, okay?
How am I moving the goalposts? We're still talking about slavery. I have allowed you to go around and around about slavery.
I'm not gonna let it go. Paul says slaves to obey your masters.
Yes.
Do you agree with Paul on that?
Wives submit to their husbands, and this is all in the context of children submitting to their fathers. That does not mean that as an institution that he is condoning slavery. He's saying it's good. I think we can read God's heart behind that.
Well, that's a deep interpretation. That's not in the text.
What was not in the text?
Well, like I said, I'm going to hammer it again. Paul
he's not saying that slavery is good.
Paul knew what was going on. He could have condemned it. Yes.
You think he's saying that slavery is good?
Absolutely, because Paul's a part of this time.
Okay, let's talk about a different kind of slavery that existed, which was bondservant, for example. So people were in debt, and so to pay their way out of debt, sometimes they would have bond service for a certain amount of time to pay their way into freedom. It was not always the same as the chattel slavery that we see in the 19th century in America, for example.
Yep.
And so it was a different context, and it was a different time. That does not mean that any of us should condone slavery.
All I want to
because
say
we
is that
shouldn't.
you perfectly gave the framework for why we don't believe that homosexuality in the Bible is the same thing as it is
But we
today.
I think it's time for white supremacists to stop hiding behind Christianity, stop hiding behind religion and the fake news that they came to tell us. Because at the end of the day, we are continuing to expose that most of you guys who pretend that are Christians are actually using Christianity as a way to sabotage black people or make black people feel inferior or just argue with some very silly facts. Because up in 2025, why are we talking about slavery? How is this a topic of discussion? We have Trump in leadership, a known rapist, a fascist, and that is a person that you guys choose. He is literally working against America and Americans. How do you also have time to go to a podcast and talk about how slavery was condoned in the Bible? And even if it was, so what? Why do you have to continuously remind black people about their history? It's because you want to take back the black people's power. And let me tell you, it's never going to happen. Because once black people have shown you that they can be more than their pain, they can be more than their history, they can be more than what you think of them, that is when you got scared. That is when you started being nauseous and you started being terrified because you do not know what tomorrow holds. What if black people continue to use this power to take back the things that you have continuously stolen from them? What then? And I think that is what is so scary for you. And that's why we keep on running back to these small, silly topics about slavery. Who cares about who cares about slavery now? Why are we talking about this? It happened. It is a very sad thing. You guys have completely refused to pay back reparations. You have completely refused to say that you actually did a bad thing by owning other people and by making other people suffer so that you can ride off their backs. And yet you want to continue talking about something that you know hurts a certain people. But before I give my full commentary, let's dive in. Listen to what others have to say, and then we'll come back and talk about it. See you shortly.
Normalizing the concept that slavery should be reinstituted. And I know you don't understand that. I know, but consider the fact that the demonization of trans people and the media started in the corners of the internet without warning, without cause, and America embraced it, accepted it. Consider the fact that the normalization of family separations, of mass deportations of American citizens themselves being detained, having no due process, no rights, started again in January in America. They also wholeheartedly embraced it, accepted it. Slavery is not next, it is now. It started, and they are coming to put you back in your black job.
Christianity played a major part in giving legitimacy to slavery. We say it casually, but remember that the cross came before the flag. When Christianity came, the version of Christianity that was brought to us was a Christianity where you are supposed to turn the other cheek. It was a Christianity where they make reference to Paul's letter to the Romans and say, obey your masters. You slaves, obey your masters as you would the Lord. So you can almost see an attempt to say that slavery is God ordained. And when they are preaching, whether it's the Catholic Church, they are now all apologizing that they were complicit in slavery. The Anglican Church is agreeing that they were complicit in slavery. The Presbyterian Church is saying that they were complicit in slavery. So the church, as we know it, the organized church from Western Europe, was part and parcel of the enslavement of Africa. And that we must never forget. And they made references to the Bible to legitimize this atrocity. So that is the reality. And the same can be said of Islam, that Islam also did recognize that there are certain people who are not believers who could therefore be enslaved. Religion, as we know it, is as guilty as guilt can be in the enslavement of peoples. And remember, it is not only African peoples who are enslaved. Even other individuals or other groups of individuals in different parts of the world were enslaved and or dehumanized. If you go to the Latin America, the Arawak people were decimated, and religion was in the forefront. In the name of God, people were enslaved. In the name of God, people were dehumanized. In the name of God, Africans were turned into things. In the name of God, Africans were turned into commodities. Organized religion has every reason to apologize to those that were enslaved.
One of the first slave ships that brought black people to the New World was named Jesus. White Christians used Bible verses and Bible stories to justify slavery. There was a time when white Christians wouldn't baptize black people because they weren't sure if it was okay to enslave Christians. They quickly changed their theology, baptized their black slaves, and forthrightly sent them back to the fields to work. 4, both black and white prosperity preachers have scammed millions of dollars from faithful black parishioners living in American slums. 5, it is an undeniable fact that Christianity has been a tool of oppression for black people all throughout the world. And yet today, black Americans identify as Christians at a staggering 79%, higher than any other group in this country. So the question is, why are black people still Christians? And while we're at it, I actually think there's a more pressing, more existential question that needs an answer. Does God hate black people? In nearly every country on every continent around the world, darker-skinned people are treated poorly. By nearly every measurable standard, so-called black people are at the bottom of the social hierarchy everywhere. So much so that in majority black countries like Haiti and Nigeria, skin lightening creams are wildly popular. Anything to gain some proximity to whiteness and some distance from blackness. Africa is rich with natural resources, boundless human potential, unfathomable wisdom, and brilliant cultural traditions. And yet, colonial powers have pillaged, exploited, and divided nations and people in ways that are frankly irreparable, all without consequence.
And if you love Jesus, you can have a mansion in the sky, a big old mansion, the biggest mansion that you've ever seen. You can have it in the sky, and it'll be on top of a cloud, and all the streets will be made of pure gold. You'll be walking on gold streets with a big old house, and it's going to be angels. They're going to be all white. They're going to be white. They're going to be in all white, and they're going to be playing a harp. And y'all gonna be floating on the cloud with Jesus. He gonna have nail marks on he gonna be like a spirit. His body didn't go, but you'll still see the nail marks in his spirit, because he gonna be up there, and you gonna get to say, Jesus, I made it, and I got a big old mansion, right? A huge mansion. And if you don't listen to Jesus and you don't follow him, you'll be on fire. You will burn up, but you will never burn up. You will be burning, and you're going to be like, I'm on fire. And you'll be on fire for the rest of eternity. To infinity and beyond, you will be burning and burning forever if you don't listen to Jesus. But if you do listen to him, mansion, gold streets. Would you not walk on the street if it was made of gold? You would. There's gold streets everywhere. There's harps. They be playing them like this. You can have a mansion. Or if you don't listen to Jesus and you don't follow him and you say, no, Jesus, you're not real, you will burn up. But you won't never burn up. You'll just keep burning and burning up. I'm burning. But then you won't die. You'll still be already dead. And your body won't exist, but you'll be on fire. Your soul will be on fire forever. Why don't y'all believe this? Of course it's real.
White supremacist, racist, any other people who feel like the heart of other people benefits them in some kind of way. Why can you never talk about parts of the Bible that teach about love? Why can we never talk about unity? The Bible teaches about unity. It talks about, being love, giving love, accepting love. There's so many things that the Bible teaches, but yet you choose the parts that you know are going to help, make you feel better about yourself, make you feel better about your history and your ancestors for what they have done to people. Let me tell you, you will never find peace until you actually recognize the things that you're doing. Even that man in the podcast who was talking about how slavery is accepted in the Bible and it was actually a good thing. Why is it something that is being talked about in 2025? It's because you want to make you want to make yourself feel better and feel good because there is some kind of battle inside you. And I say this and I'll say it again. You will never find peace until you realize the things that your ancestors have done. You can never tell me that after your ancestors have completely poured the blood of people, they have bathed in the sweat of people, they have continuously done things that are so inhumane that even animals don't do to each other, and then you tell me that generations to come, those same kids, the kids of those people, are going to live a happy, good life. And those are the same people who believe in the Bible. That's a lie. Even the Bible says that maybe you're not the one who is going to have, you're not the one who is going to feel the pain or the wrath of God, but generations to come, even it might even be your fourth generation, they will feel it. They will taste the pain that you inflicted on other people. Maybe you don't believe it, but yet it still happens. I believe it happens. And you have to stop living in the past. I think some of the things that affect white supremacists and racists is that they want to live in a time that has already passed. You want to bring back slavery so that you can stomp over black people, because right now black people are having so much power. They're getting what they finally deserved. Obviously not everything that they deserve, because they have managed to create wealth. They have managed to create a safe space and a safe environment for themselves. They have managed to even create a community for themselves without your help. Even when you have created a system that works against them, they have managed to do all those things. And now you're scared because you don't know what they can do once the system changes to treat everyone equally. You don't know what black people will do once they have the power that you have. Because, to be honest, you were given that power. You have remained with that power for close to 500 years. And even more. Obviously, during the time of slavery, that was 500 years. You had a 500-year head start. And still those people that you enslaved and you inflicted pain upon have come out to be one of the most accomplished people, rich people, educated people. I know you're scared because you do not know. Because when you had power, you used it against certain people. And those same people are literally being awarded back. They are being given back their power. By who? You guess? By God. They are being returned their power. Whatever you thought that you're winning at, it's not going to work. And even if you think that you're okay right now, let me tell you, you're never going to have peace until you realize the things that you've done. And I am so happy that I get to say and I get to exist in a time where actual white people are coming out and calling out their fellow white people against, crimes of humanity. When you are a person who still has the time to be a racist right now, how can you even have conversations with grown-ups? You are a grown-up talking about racism. You are a grown-up who hates a certain people because of the color of their skin, because of what you were taught in class, by a book that is so old you can't even recount who was alive for your generation when it was being written. You can't even know. But yet you're living a life based on that when times have really changed. Yes, there are parts of the book, there are parts of history that we should learn from, but there are parts of history that we should also not decide to live by. We can change. We can build our own paths for the generations to come. Because one thing that is even limiting white people and not taking away white people's power is refusing to admit that their ancestors failed them, that the history that they were taught, yes, it might be true. Some of it might be true. Yes, they did colonize other countries. They did inflict a lot of pain, and they did own slaves at the time. Yes, all of that is true. But you see, those are things that are done with. Those are things that are gone with the times. You cannot live your life according to how your ancestors lived them. You cannot tell me that right now you want to do the same things that your ancestors did when there was no technology. Right now, you can even Google and find out facts about yourself, about your family, even about white history and also black history. You can find out about anything and everything that you want to find out about. If you're a racist in this time and age, you are an arrogant person, and it's sad to see that, because times have changed, things have changed, Stop being arrogant. Stop being ignorant. Stop making your kids and the kids of your kids suffer for things that you were taught by your parents and the parents of your parents, when you know that it doesn't even apply to you right now. When you go into class, you're taught that white people are superior. History teaches that white people they don't say invade, they say they invented, or they discovered America, they discovered this country, they discovered this mountain, while there were already settlers in those places. That is what history teaches. White people's task is to roam around the world, take whatever they want, and not ever pay for whatever they've done. That is what you're taught. You're taught that you are more superior to any other race, any other people who have a different skin color than you. That is what you're taught. And then, yet, at that time, those people were writing things when black people did not have the power that they have right now. Now you come outside of that classroom, you go into the real world, you find that black people have their own power. Right now, a black person can slap you when you disrespect them. They're not standing for that, and they keep on telling they are not their ancestors. And you should also realize that you're not your ancestors. You have to stop with this white supremacy thing that you're still talking to black people like you own them, asking them for documentation or telling them they don't belong somewhere. They will slap you. You're not living in your history. You're living in your own reality. And your reality in generations to come will be your kids' history. And they'll be very ashamed once the black people have their power. They have more power probably than white people. But these people are being much better than how you are when you had power. They have not, caused revenge. They have not come back for you. They have not punished you for what you did to them. They're actually coexisting with you well. And you will be so embarrassed. Even your kids will be so embarrassed, and they will have to live with your embarrassment, with all the things that you taught them, all the things that you inflicted into their brains that don't even make sense. Let's live in our own reality. Let's create our own path. Let's find a way to live well with people. Our enemy is not each other, it's the 1%. The people who are paying lesser bills than us when they have the net worth of a literal country. They can literally buy a country with their money. They can literally end world hunger with their money combined, or even one person. Elon Musk can literally end world hunger if he wanted to. But yet you want to fight with someone who is down here with you, who you're struggling with. You're being used by those people. Stop it. Stop using Christianity also to help you into promoting those narcissistic behaviors and narcissistic ideologies that you have. Christianity has also evolved into something new, into something different. Black people love Christianity. Stop using it against them. Just because you know that they're using it and they love it, now you want to take the one thing that they have. No, that is not for you to do. Leave them alone. Live your own lives. Stop talking about slavery. Stop talking about black people's history, especially when you're not going to pay them back for what you did to them. And I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, kindly consider sharing, subscribing, and liking. I'd love to see you another time, so kindly come back. And if you'd like to support me in another way, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee link down in the description below. I will truly appreciate. Goodbye for now.